I don't know what's going on. So I'm in technology hell. I have tried to record this several times. My DJI camera is not working properly. So you are currently plugged in, synced up, because it's not working without the charger. So I don't know what's going on. And before I try and send it in to get it repaired, I thought I'd try and do a quick vlog and just bring you up to speed on week 58. Anyway, week 58. So it is my weigh-in video of the week. So I reported last week about my suppression and the fact that all food was kind of giving me the ick. And it wasn't very nice, I'm going to be honest. So I wasn't able to eat much last week. I tried, I kept trying, but just everything just didn't taste good. I wasn't enjoying it. It was kind of giving me like tummy troubles. And yeah, like I said, everything was just kind of giving me a bit of the ick. And I didn't like that. So this week, as you know, I said I wasn't going to inject on the Sunday. So I didn't do that. And I went from the Thursday of last week to the Thursday of this week on just the 5 milligrams. And it worked surprisingly well. It did. I was starving on Monday and Tuesday, not so much on Wednesday. Wednesday I kind of was all right because I'd upped my protein. But Monday and Tuesday, man, I mean, I had the tummy rumbles and yeah, I was properly hungry. Upped my protein. I have been eating quite a lot this week, just because of like I said last week, I was just don't know what was off about last week, but it wasn't just mega suppression. Like I said, the like food that I generally tend to enjoy, I was just like, couldn't be bothered, you know. But anyway, so this week I've been eating a lot. And one thing I realised this week, obviously, like people turn to Mounjaro for different reasons. I turned to Mounjaro to help me with my food noise. So my food noise has always been my biggest problem. So it's the cravings and wanting to eat different kinds of food, thinking about all different combinations of food. And yeah, one thing I realised this week, being so hungry on Monday and Tuesday. So, yeah, like I said, tummy rumbling, you know, churning, gurgling, body saying I want to eat. I can completely ignore that. I can power through that. I can just be like, I'm not going to eat. I can go without eating. I'll have another cup of coffee. I'll have some more water. So hunger has never been my thing. And I've said that before, you know, I've always been able to go long periods without eating. It's the food noise and the cravings that always get on top of me, and the desire to eat something to manage my mood. And I've been trying really hard since I started Mounjaro to deal with those hungry head rather than hungry belly feelings. But it was so noticeable, like this week on Monday, Tuesday, where my tummy, I could hear my tummy screaming out for food. And I did eat, but I was very aware that I was like, in years gone by, I would have just ignored that. I would have been like, that's very irritating. So yeah, I paid attention to it, and I did eat this week, and I ate quite a lot of protein this week. I've really upped my protein this week. So I would say I've probably been doing between 140 and 160 grams of protein, probably since Monday, Tuesday. I did inject on Thursday, so I feel like my hunger is kind of back manageable, under control. And one thing I will say is this week I did have some cravings. Sorry, I don't know about the angle on this. Sorry, I'm holding you in my hand. So, yeah, I did have some cravings in the sense that I was thinking about food. So if there was something, if I saw an advertisement for some kind of a food, like I saw an ad for donuts the other day, and I was like, oh, donuts would be really good. And, you know, when you're flicking on like Instagram or on YouTube, you'll see recipe videos, and food was sounding really appealing to me. And previously, like when I'm taking like the, you know, my full dose, etc., I don't really think about food. And if I see something that's meant to appeal to me, I don't tend to act on it or think about it. So this week it was interesting in that like it did make me think about more food. So the 5 milligrams, I would be aware of that. I mean, I didn't go out and buy a donut or make anything, but it was just I was more influenced by those ads than I normally would be. Normally I could watch them and be like, oh, I know that would taste good, but it doesn't appeal to me. Whereas I was thinking, oh yeah, maybe I should make that mac and cheese, which would be disastrous for me with my gluten and my dairy. But yeah, so that was an interesting observation. I've kind of skipped over mood this week. I normally start off with mood. My mood is very meh. And I'm not going to lie, obviously, I can rally for these 15-20 minutes that I do these vlogs, but I'm still quite in the depths of seasonal affective disorder and just struggling with a lot of things in life and things in general. But I'm not going to talk about that on here because that's not what this is about. This is about my weigh-in for the week. And I've already covered it kind of last week and in my midweek musing, Mounjaro Mental Health and Me. So yeah, we'll draw a line under mood, but just be aware I'm doing everything I can. I have been making myself extra nutritious meals this week. I bought some beef bones, like for some marrow. So I've done like a beef stock, bone broth type thing, using marrow bones, lots of veggies and things like that. So I've been having that. It's very good for your guts. If you're not aware, there's a very strong link between your gut health and your brain health. So I do a lot of things like sauerkraut and kombucha and things like that. So this week I've really, really prioritised the healthiest diet that I can, if that makes sense. And yeah, got my protein super high this week. So yeah, so that's kind of mood, hunger, cravings type thing. What else was I going to tell you about? Side effects. I went to the doctor on Tuesday about my ear popping. Kind of a frustrating visit. There was a medical student in the room, so I actually had a slightly longer appointment than normally, so the medical student could do the majority of the work. So she checked my ears, asked me about all my symptoms in great detail. We talked at length about anything that helps, anything that doesn't help, and I said obviously like antihistamines, which somebody had written that their doctor or their ENT had recommended. Antihistamines make mine worse and make it last for twice as long. So that was a mistake I made. I'm not happy about that. The doctor did recommend steroid nasal things. In the UK, I think it's Becanase or Flixanase, I think she recommended. But we discussed it at length, like I said, and I said about the patulous eustachian dysfunction. I'd also mentioned the pulsatile tinnitus, and I'd also speculated, could it possibly be Meniere's disease? And anyway, we talked like it is definitely the patulous eustachian dysfunction. She said it is related to weight loss. It very often happens after bariatric surgery. But that it does tend to wear off after a certain period of time. It's to do with the fat around your ear, around your tubes, and obviously dramatic weight loss can cause a reduction and that it will eventually go away. And I said, well, I've had it for 32 weeks. And she said, oh, give it a few more weeks. So it felt like a bit of a waste of time at the time. I'm not going to lie, I was quite annoyed. But actually, do you know what? It really is decreasing in frequency and duration. So she might be onto something. I haven't had it as much this week as previous weeks. So, I do still get it maybe 2 or 3 days a week, but only for a couple of hours at a time, and then it does go away. Whereas before, like I said, it was 7 days a week for up to 8 hours a day. So I've got to just accept that. I've got to wait a few more weeks anyway. That's the long and the short of it. I might try the nose drops, the steroids. I don't like taking medication unnecessarily. So my family think it's weird that I'm on Mounjaro because I don't tend to take medication for stuff. And so they were surprised when they heard I was on Mounjaro because they know I don't normally reach for anything from pharmaceutical organisations. But anyway, I might consider the nose drops, but not at the moment. I'm kind of managing without them. So we'll see. Sleep it's been okay. It's been okay. I did say last week, obviously, there's a couple of nights where I've slept through the night, and a couple of times where, I've felt that I've had a good night's sleep. I feel like I'm on the up with that. I do still take magnesium glycinate, and I tend to alternate between magnesium glycinate and the ashwagandha. The ashwagandha for me is the best sleeping treatment I could possibly take. Sorry, I am trying to hold the camera steady. Because it's on the charger, I can't stick it on top of anything, so I'm having to hold it at its base. So the ashwagandha works the best for me. Absolutely knocks it out of the park. I mean, it's the best sleep that I get. But I don't want to become reliant on it, so I maybe use it 2 or 3 times a week. The other times I use magnesium glycinate, and that seems to work. But like I said, I don't want to rely on anything. The magnesium glycinate I don't have too much of an issue taking, but because obviously it has other benefits. But I don't know, I just feel like I shouldn't take the ashwagandha every night. But that is not a recommendation. I am not telling you to go out and buy any of these things. Obviously, it's up to you to do your own research, find out about these things yourself. I'm just telling you how things have benefited me. And I can't speak highly enough about the ashwagandha, and it definitely helped me with my cortisol. That's one thing I can say. Or it helped me get enough sleep that my cortisol levels were able to decrease. So that's one thing I will say. Exercise, I'm not going to lie, I haven't done any, let's say I haven't done any structured hardcore exercise. I do still walk. I'm walking more at a leisurely mental health pace rather than a sort of cardio pace. I mean, I do get my heart rate up, don't get me wrong, but I'm not pushing it. I am literally using my walks as just a well-being tool rather than an exercise tool. Obviously, walking in itself is exercise, but it's not the normal pace and intensity that I would do. And I do pick up the weights and I have a go, but I haven't done any real structured exercise. And like I said, I'm prioritizing the things for my mental health that I feel are helping me the most. I know exercise will help if I get it up a little bit, but just at the moment, I am finding that balance. So, but I will get there. I will get there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, poor me, I'm the only person that has anything wrong with me. I know there are a lot of people that do struggle, so I'm trying to keep it very balanced and proportionate. And like I said, I can put on a good show for the 15-20 minutes that I'm on here. But other times I'm doing loads. I'm journaling, I'm reading, I'm talking to people and stuff like that. So I'm getting on top of it. I will get there. I will get there. Non-scale victories. So I am still registered at the GP practice in the town I used to live in. And there is a very steep hill. I couldn't find parking, so I had to park at the bottom of this steep hill. And I was running a bit late then, so I had to power up this very, very steep hill. And I was absolutely flabbergasted when I got to the top because I was out of breath a little bit and my heart was pumping a little bit. but not the needing oxygen and a defibrillator that I used to need going up that hill. I used to have to stop going up that hill, and I would make a great show about getting out my phone and looking like I'd got a message that I needed to answer, when actually what it was I was just pausing to try and catch my breath. So yeah, I was pleased with that, especially because obviously I haven't really been working out recently. So the weight loss in and of itself has just helped with my ability to get up that very steep hill. I mean, it's not vertical, but it's not far off. It's quite a hill. So yeah, I was really pleased with that, and kind of took the time to notice that had happened. So yeah, that was good. So that's my non-scale victory for the week. Goals. So last week I reported that my goals were to reach 90 pounds weight loss, to get into the 10 stones bracket in the UK, and eventually, obviously, the big goal is the 147.8 pounds, which would be 100 pounds from my original starting weight of 247.8 pounds. So I am approaching that. I am under 10 pounds away from that. And going on my weight this week, I'm, well, barring something terrible happening, I'm probably going to make that goal by Christmas, and I'm really pleased about that. So my weights that I discussed last week, sorry, let me just look at this. So last week I weighed in at 158 pounds, or 11 stone 4 even, or 71.6 kilos. This week, and I think I'm going to preface this by saying this week's weight is probably to do with the fact that I wasn't able to eat much the previous week, because I've had a relatively good loss this week. So this week I weighed in at 155.8, or 11 stone 1 and then 8, or 70.0 kilograms. So I lost in total this week 2.2 pounds, which is 1 kilo. And I am I don't know if I'm 91 or 92 pounds down. I didn't add this up properly. 47. So I think I'm 92 pounds down. So I think I've got 8 pounds to go until I make the 100. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I've got 8 pounds to go. So 92 pounds lost. So I'm delighted with that. I really am, because obviously I'm so close to target, and, you know, things do slow down. One thing I can also say is that I've been working on getting my fibre up. I've been trying different ways of doing that. And my diet has been probably the healthiest it's ever been consistently throughout the week. So I've really been focused on protein, focused on some fibre, focused on, you know, a different array of colours and things like that. Like I said, I've made bone broth, I've made my chicken soup with extra veggies and things. I'm drinking kombucha. I'm eating some dried fruit, which is obviously good for your bowel movements, along with the fibre and things like that. So overall, physically, I'm feeling quite healthy. I'm just waiting for everything else to sort of follow along. And I've noticed that my belly has decreased. I was still suffering from bloating, even though I was trying to cut out all of the foods that I felt were triggering me. I do have a lot of intolerances. If you're a long-time video follower, you'll know that I have a lot of intolerances. If you're new, I have a lot of food intolerances that cause me bloating and like digestive distress and all kinds of different things. So yeah, even though I'd kind of got my diet down to quite a strict and restricted amount, I've felt this week that something shifted, that I don't feel as bloated. I feel that I'm starting to like lose my belly, because I still have quite a big belly, bearing in mind I'm very close to target. So I've got skinny hip dips and I'm quite bony on my chest and things like that, but then I still have this big belly. But I think maybe it's finally shifting a little bit. So hence upping the fibre and, you know, getting things moving and clearing out all of the old stuff. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but yeah, overall, it's I'm physically feeling better, and yeah, I think £8, and we are maybe 8 weeks away from Christmas, are we? So yeah, £1 a week. I think that is achievable for me. Obviously, I've had a couple of big losses recently, so maybe not, but we'll see. I'm optimistic. I'm hopefully optimistic that by Christmas I will have lost that and I will be at goal. And obviously there's a little bit in my brain that goes, oh, I can go nuts on Christmas then. That's an old thought, but interesting that those old thoughts still pop up into my head. But yeah. Anyway, I apologise for the camera angle. I am actually hoping that this has recorded, because otherwise I don't know how I'm going to get a vlog out this week. Anyway, I will be back for Wednesday for midweek musings. Hopefully I'll either have a new camera, a fixed camera, or I'll be able to figure out my phone. My phone's old as well, so, you know, it's I'm battling all of the technologies here. So yeah, anyway, I hope your week is going well. I hope you're doing okay on your Mounjaro journey. And obviously, if you have any queries or comments or anything you'd like to share in the comments, please do so. If you don't have a channel yourself, share your wins down below, or even your struggles. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell if you want to be alerted to any future videos. And I will see you again on Wednesday. So have a good week and I will speak to you then. Bye-bye now.